For nearly 3 decades, the Berlin Wall stood as the starkest physical manifestation of the Cold War's ideological divide. It was a concrete barrier, a symbol of oppression, and a tragic divider of families and a nation. Its sudden collapse on November 9, 1989, sent shockwaves across the globe. The fall of the Berlin Wall was not a singular event, but the culmination of complex, interconnected forces. It represented a pivotal moment in history, signaling the beginning of the end for Soviet communism and the reunification of Germany. Understanding its demise requires examining both internal pressures and external shifts. Erected on August 13, 1961, the Berlin Wall was officially known by East Germany as the anti-fascist protection rampart. Its true purpose was to halt the mass emigration of East Germans to the West. This exodus threatened the economic and political viability of the German Democratic Republic. The wall effectively sealed off West Berlin, transforming it into an island within communist East Germany. It became a deadly barrier, with thousands attempting to cross and hundreds losing their lives in the process. For millions, it was a constant reminder of their lack of freedom. By the late 1980s, East Germany was a state in profound crisis. Its centrally planned economy was stagnant, unable to compete with the West. Shortages of consumer goods were rampant, and living standards lagged far behind West Germany. This economic disparity fueled widespread discontent. The ruling Socialist Unity Party maintained power through pervasive surveillance by the Stasi secret police. However, even this extensive control could not suppress the growing desire for reform and freedom. Public dissatisfaction simmered beneath the surface, ready to erupt. A critical external factor was the leadership of Mikhail Gorbachev in the Soviet Union. Ascending to power in 1985, Gorbachev introduced radical policies of perestroika, economic restructuring, and glasnost, political openness. These reforms aimed to revitalize the Soviet system. Crucially, Gorbachev also signaled a departure from the Brezhnev Doctrine, which had justified Soviet intervention in satellite states. He made it clear that the Soviet Union would not intervene militarily to prop up communist regimes in Eastern Europe. This non-intervention policy was a game-changer. Gorbachev's stance emboldened reform movements across Eastern Europe. In Poland, the Solidarity Trade Union achieved significant political gains, leading to semi-free elections in June 1989. This marked a major crack in the Soviet bloc's facade. Hungary followed suit, dismantling sections of its border fence with Austria in May 1989. This created a direct escape route for East Germans, who began to flee in increasing numbers. The Pan-European picnic in August saw hundreds of East Germans cross into Austria unhindered. The mass exodus of East Germans through Hungary and Czechoslovakia intensified throughout the summer and autumn of 1989. West German embassies in Prague and Warsaw became overcrowded with refugees seeking asylum. This created an international crisis and immense pressure on the East German government. Simultaneously, large-scale protests erupted within East Germany itself, most notably the Monday demonstrations in Leipzig. Hundreds of thousands marched, chanting, "Wir sind das Volk," "We are the people," and demanding freedom, democracy, and the right to travel. The regime was losing its grip. Under immense internal and external pressure, the East German leadership attempted to introduce reforms. On November 9, 1989, government spokesman Günter Schabowski held a press conference to announce new, more lenient travel regulations. The intention was to manage the flow of emigration. However, Schabowski was poorly briefed and misread the official memorandum. When asked when the new regulations would take effect, he famously stated, "Immediately, without delay." This was a critical error. The law was intended to take effect the following day, with applications still required. Schabowski's televised announcement spread like wildfire through West German media, which was widely accessible in East Berlin. Thousands of East Berliners immediately converged on the border crossings, demanding passage to the west. Border guards, lacking clear orders, were overwhelmed. Faced with an unstoppable crowd and without instructions to use force, the guards at Bornholmer Strasse crossing made a momentous decision. At approximately 10:45 p.m., they opened the gates. The other checkpoints soon followed, and the Berlin Wall, for all intents and purposes, ceased to exist. The fall of the Berlin Wall was a testament to the power of popular will and the fragility of authoritarian regimes. It was driven by the internal decay of East Germany, the reformist policies of Mikhail Gorbachev, and the domino effect of liberation movements across Eastern Europe. This historic event not only led to German reunification less than a year later, but also accelerated the collapse of the Soviet Union itself. The wall's demise marked the symbolic end of the Cold War and ushered in a new era of international relations, forever changing the geopolitical landscape.